I am 34 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that may make you uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Everything you think you know about time, priorities, and having a well-organized life is wrong. Completely wrong. The worst part is that no one really tells you this. Not your parents, not your teachers, not society. Not because they're bad people, but because they were lied to as well. Or because they only understood it when it was already too late. I believed those lies. I believed them deeply. I believed I was doing the right thing, that I was being responsible, that I was building a safe future. I had a husband, a 4-year-old daughter, a stable job, bills paid on time. I dropped my daughter off at daycare early every morning, picked her up at the end of the day already exhausted, too tired to really play, too distracted to really listen. I kept telling myself it was just a phase, that later I would make up for it, that once things slowed down, I'd be more present. Then something happened, and it wasn't cancer. The diagnosis was amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a progressive neurological disease, degenerative, silent, incurable. The doctors didn't give me exact timelines. They didn't make promises. They only said something that changed everything. You need to prepare yourself. Time is not on your side. I heard those words sitting in a cold chair, my purse on my lap, my phone vibrating with work messages. I remember thinking, this can't be happening right now. My daughter still sleeps next to me sometimes. She still mispronounces my name when she's half asleep. In that white room, I understood something that terrified me more than the word terminal. I realized I wasn't really living. I was functioning, going, coming back, solving, replying, delivering, always busy, always tired, always promising presence later. And the thought that still keeps me awake at night is this: if I had died before this diagnosis, what would my daughter remember about me? A rushed mother, a mother always on her phone, a mother who loved her but never seemed to have time. I told myself I was doing everything for my family, but the truth is, I was absent from them. The biggest lie I told myself was simple. I have time to play later, time to talk properly with my husband later, time to be a more present mother when things calmed down. I would see my 4-year-old sitting on the living room floor, playing alone, while I answered emails. She would say, "Mommy, look," and I would answer without looking. "Just a second, sweetheart." I didn't go. I convinced myself I was a good mother because she had everything: a good daycare, clean clothes, food, structure. But children don't need perfect structure. They need imperfect presence. And I failed at that. My husband and I became survival partners. We talked about bills, schedules, logistics. We stopped talking about us, not because we didn't love each other, but because we were too exhausted to feel. I kept saying, it's just this phase. Everyone says that, but phases pass. Childhood doesn't wait. The day of the diagnosis wasn't dramatic. No fainting, no screaming, just silence. I sat in my car, hands on the steering wheel, and thought, I traded moments that will never come back for things that don't matter. If I don't have much time, if my daughter grows up without me, what will I have left her? Memories or absence? Not the photos I barely looked at, not the toys I bought to compensate for my lack of time. What I left behind would have been emptiness. And that realization hurts more than any physical symptom, because regret doesn't scream, it whispers constantly. You knew, and you still postponed. After the ALS diagnosis, fear changed shape. It wasn't fear of pain or fear of hospitals. It was something deeper. ALS doesn't take your mind, it takes your body. You stay aware. You understand everything, while control slowly slips away. I started looking at my daughter as if everything might be the last time. The way she sleeps with her arm over her face, the way she mispronounces certain words, the sound of her laughter when she runs for no reason. And then the thought that breaks me every time: she might grow up without really remembering me. 4-year-olds don't keep long memories, they keep feelings. So every night I asked myself, what feeling did I leave her with? A rushed mother, a tired mother, a mother who always said later. I thought about every late workday, every rushed daycare drop-off, every "we'll play tomorrow." Tomorrow is not guaranteed. My husband tried to be strong, but I saw the fear in his eyes when he thought I wasn't looking. We never spoke openly about the end, but it sat between us on the couch, invisible, heavy. The idea of not seeing my daughter grow up, not being there for her first day of school, not hearing about her first heartbreak, not being there when she truly needs comfort. That's when I understood something brutal. Time is not abstract, it's physical. It ends, and when it ends, it doesn't just take you, it takes everything you postponed. I didn't want my daughter to have a perfect mother. I wanted her to have a present one. And that's when I realized I couldn't change the past, but I could still decide how I would be remembered. After fear settled in, something strange happened. Work started to feel irrelevant. Meetings, deadlines, performance goals, all of it felt small next to the word ALS. I asked myself honestly, if I'm not here next year, who will remember the reports I delivered? The answer was obvious: no one. But my daughter would remember or feel every absence. For the first time, I didn't want to be efficient. I wanted to be there. I started picking her up earlier from daycare. At first, she was confused. She looked at me and asked, "Mommy, don't you have work today?" That question cut deep. In her mind, I belonged somewhere else. I started sitting on the floor to play, even when I was tired, listening to stories without checking the time, turning my phone off without guilt. None of that made me lose my job immediately, but it gave me back something I had abandoned: presence. My husband and I started talking again, not about money, but about fear, about guilt, about love. We cried together for the first time in years. I understood that the life I was trying to protect, organized, productive, safe, was the very life stealing what mattered most. It wasn't a grand decision. It was a series of small no's. No to unnecessary overtime. No to meaningless meetings. No to autopilot. And many yeses. Yes to a messy living room floor. Yes to repeated stories. Yes to being truly there. Over time, I stopped counting days. I started counting moments. ALS didn't teach me how to live. It forced me to choose. What stays isn't big achievements. It's small gestures repeated daily. My daughter won't remember how much money I made. She'll remember how I looked at her when she spoke, how I sat on the floor, how I wasn't in a hurry. Legacy isn't what you leave for someone. It's what you leave inside them. And I was late to understand that. I spent years trying to be strong, productive, admirable. I forgot to be accessible. Now, when my daughter calls me, I go, even tired, even afraid, even in pain, because presence is a daily choice. My husband once told me something I'll never forget. She doesn't need you perfect. She needs you here. That broke me open. I stopped waiting for energy, stopped waiting for time, stopped waiting for life to get easier. Life doesn't get easier. It passes, and it passes fast. I don't know how much time I have left. The doctors don't make promises. Neither do I, but I know this. My daughter will not grow up thinking her mother was always busy. She will grow up knowing she was loved. If you're listening to this thinking, this isn't about me, I thought that too. I believed illness, loss, endings, those were things that happened to other people. They weren't. Time doesn't warn you. It just charges interest. You won't regret what you failed to produce. You'll regret what you failed to live. The hugs you postponed, the conversations you rushed, the later that never came. If you have young children, understand this now. They don't need your future. They need your present. Your phone can wait. Your job will replace you. Your child won't. Don't wait for a diagnosis to rearrange your life. Don't wait for fear to teach you how to love with time. Don't wait for loss to bring clarity. I can't choose for you, but I can tell you this with the honesty of someone whose time suddenly became fragile. Nothing you're postponing is more important than being there, now, today, while you still can. Because the life you think you'll live later is this one, right now.